What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knucklehead Garage. It is beautiful weather in New England. Finally, spring has arrived. Garage doors are open and we are outside and we're going to start working on the bed of our rat rod project. This bed is actually what kicked off our latest project, a 1951 International 1-ton pickup truck. It actually didn't come to me as a pickup truck. It came as a parts vehicle for our 1951 half-ton pickup truck. I scavenged all the parts I possibly needed and got this guy up and running last year. This sat outside for about 6 months and I was starting to get ready to figure out how to get it out of my yard until Facebook Marketplace struck again and advertised this bed on a trailer. Now this bed is actually a Ford bed, but the match in color and patina to rat rod is just uncanny. So we went up to New Hampshire, we picked up this thing, brought it back, just kind of laid it on rat rod for quite a while. I think that bed's a little too long. I haven't done too much to this thing. The only real thing I've done is taken out the 3/16" steel plate that someone welded in there, I assume when they converted it to a trailer, to reveal what I think is the original wood bed. We've got rust in corners. We've got some holes. The wood's not in great shape. I am going to try to reuse that if I can. Plenty of rust along the side here. Someone put this galvanized piece of steel in here. All of the structure underneath is pretty much toast. But that's okay, because I'm planning on just using this for the skin of it. And I'm actually going to have to figure out how to mount it to an International. But also, now that I've got air ride pretty much wrapped up, I'm going to have to figure out how to get the air ride to pass through the inside of the bed. In the last episode, we got the rear end into the state that it is right now. We've got this new subframe fully welded and tacked into the truck. We've got air springs, 4-bar linkage, and the new axle all installed. And the air ride system is now working. We can actually move this thing up and down. I know because I've done it a bunch. I also know because my kids have been bugging me to do it because they use this thing as a trampoline. And that's been fun. But I'm not looking for a trampoline in the rear end of my truck as I'm driving down the road. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is actually add some dampers here. The second thing I'm going to have to do is add a Panhard bar to limit the lateral movement between the frame and the axle. At the end of the last episode, I was 100% convinced that the dampers would have to be mounted outside the frame. There's just a lot more going on now inside the frame with the air springs. I just couldn't visualize how to get them mounted inboard. So to help me visualize, I went over to the Scout, which I have a brand new set of 6-inch stroke dampers, and I just brought them back to Rat Rob here, mocked them up to see if I couldn't figure out a simple, strong, and clever way to mount them. I came up with a couple ideas that I liked, but I remembered I'm going to have to get a damper with a couple more inches of stroke here. And if I do that, these things are going to hang very low below the axle, which I wasn't a fan of. So I went back thinking inside the frame. And to do that, I just started looking under every car and truck I could find, did a bunch of Google searches, and I came to the conclusion that there are no vehicles that have dampers that are just purely vertical. Maybe that's not exactly true, but most dampers are off axis one way or the other. And they do that for a number of reasons, but for me that helps because I found an orientation where I can thread the needle between the air spring and the differential cover and utilize this cross brace, which I already have, and build off of the axle bracket from Ride Tech. So I went back in a CAD to detail out how I'm going to mount dampers, also how I'm going to mount the Panhard bar, which we'll get to in a little bit, but really to focus on what stroke I'm actually going to need for these dampers. And something clicked in my mind, and I remembered a couple years ago, I picked up some dampers at a car show. I just had to find them. So I went to my parts shelf in the shed and found the Skyjacker 7000s that I picked up from a fellow International Harvester enthusiast. I think these came off of his Scout 2. I grabbed them because I thought, hey, maybe I would actually lift the Scout at some point. That's not going to happen anytime soon. So now I've got the design figured out. I've got the materials I need. So I'm going to go into the shop and start fabricating. And you think with these machines it'd be easy and precise. to fabricate these brackets, but these are still paperweights. They've been sitting here for a year and a half. I've actually got a video on this. I'll put the description in the link below of me and my buddy Lucas from Watercore Solutions bringing these in here, but I still don't have power for these things. But as of this morning, I actually have an order placed with American Rotary for a 3-phase converter. So hopefully in less than a month, I'll have these guys up and running and you'll be able to watch me make some parts on them. But for this video, I'm gonna do a quick fabrication montage with the good old rusty, trusty drill press from my grandfather. So let's do it. These are the brackets that I just fabbed up. They're 1.5 inch square steel. 1.5 inch was chosen because I needed to get the bottom of the damper to mount on the same plane as the top of the damper there. It's a pretty simple setup. There are 2 holes in there. I drilled this one originally as just a 1/2 inch hole for a hex bolt, but that hex bolt was starting to make contact with the damper, so I changed that out for a countersink. This bottom one is a 9/16 inch bolt, so I did have to open up the air ride bracket there. These are a little bit long. I am gonna trim them, but I'll get to that when I get to the Panhard bar. I've got the suspension fully aired up now. I've got the top of the dampers clamped to where I think they're gonna go on that crossbar. And now I'm checking for clearances. When it is fully up, I'm just making sure I have enough clearance between the air spring and the damper. When I start to air it down, I'm gonna be looking for clearance between the damper and the differential cover, specifically on this side, because this is where the gear juts out there. So I'm just gonna cycle this and just make sure I have clearance at all heights. Not quite as much clearance as I want, but I think it's gonna be fine. I am gonna make a quick audible on these bars. Let me show you what I'm gonna do. When I first installed these 2 crossbars here, I actually tacked it in so the top of the bar intersects with the start of the radius of these tubes here. And there's nothing wrong with it, and it's pretty arbitrary, but I'm not really liking the way it looks aesthetically. And also I just want to make sure that it's as high as it can go so that the whole frame can drop down as low as it can go, which I think it can now, but if I change tires or the pressure in the tires, I just want to make sure I'm always bottoming out. So I actually fabricated some new cross members. Yes, I actually drilled on the drill press and got some radii there. So I have the positions of the dampers, and now that I have new bars, I'm gonna go drill some holes in there and then cut these guys out one by one, install the new ones, and get the dampers fully mounted. And for drill press machining, I think I ended up actually getting a pretty good fit. I'm pretty happy how the damper mounting turned out. These guys are fully mounted now. You saw them mounted on the bottom. Now they're bolted through on this new crossbeam here. I've run this suspension through its full travel just to kind of triple check that there's no clearance issues. Only thing I'm not super crazy about right now is that these dampers are mounting so closely to one another, and specifically to the center of the beam, which is the weakest point. Now, as it sits right now, there is no load imparted on this beam, either pushing or pulling, because these guys are velocity dependent. It's the air springs that are giving kind of the DC load. But if I go over a big bump, there could be a fair amount of force here. So I'm gonna do 2 things to make me feel better about that. One, I'm gonna add sleeves. So once I get the lathe up and running, I'm gonna turn some simple sleeves that I can weld in there just for more bearing surface on the beam on the inside. The second thing, I've already cut out an additional brace, which I'm gonna put under here, weld it in, and that'll just at least spread the load a little bit farther out on either side. Now that we have the damping all squared away, there's only one more thing I need to do to completely wrap up the suspension, and that's to deal with this lateral motion, which is actually considerably less with the dampers. And the way I'm going to do that is I am going to add a Panhard bar. So let me show you my plan there. I've come across a couple different approaches to limit the lateral relative motion between the frame and the axle. The kit that I picked up a couple episodes ago from RideTech has all the hardware for a Panhard bar, and that's what I'm going to use. I've done some research, and I think this approach is actually the most straightforward to do as well. The concept is actually pretty straightforward. You have to ground the Panhard bar on one side to the frame, and on the other side, you have to ground it to the axle. The kit did come with some hardware. The rod ends are the same ones that are used on the 4-bar linkage. It came with this bracket, which I'm going to end up welding to the frame somewhere. It came with another pair of brackets that are supposed to be mounted together and actually bolted to the differential. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually work on this 8.8 differential, so I had to figure out another way to do it to mount to the axle. This is the axle mount side that I've got mocked up here, and my approach is going to be using the same 1.5-inch tubing for the horizontal piece to get behind the dampers. I'm going to end up welding it to the damper bracket that I just made. You can just ignore these holes. These were from my first revision of the damper bracket. I designed up these plates and had them water jet cut at work, which was awesome. These are kind of just mimicking the bracket that came with the kit, and that will hold the axle side of the Panhard bar. Now that I've got the design done and the parts out here mocked up, there are a couple more things that I want to run through just to make sure I'm optimizing the design. The first thing is I want this Panhard bar to be as long as possible so that the radius is as large as possible, so the lateral play of the axle relative to the frame is as little as possible. This is exactly what I did with the 4-bar linkage up there. The second thing I'm doing is I'm going to make sure at ride height this bar is completely horizontal, and that just ensures that the axle is actually moving in the same direction as it goes up and the same direction as it goes down. The last thing I'm going to work through is just making sure that the Panhard bar is as close to the dampers as possible. I just want to limit the amount that this bracket is actually cantilevered out from the axle. I've got a couple more measurements I'm going to go through, a couple tweaks I'm going to make. I'm going to fab some parts and get this Panhard bar installed. So let's do it. Now that I've got the axle side brackets fabricated enough to mock up, I put the Panhard bar in here, got that horizontal as the truck is sitting at ride height, so I can start taking a look at the other side. Unfortunately, on the frame side, this bracket was just hanging out in space the way I have it situated. I could not figure out how to get it welded to any of the existing frames. So what I'm going to end up doing, just make a drop down tube member, the same material as a lot of this frame, 2x3, and just make it long enough so that the bracket itself can easily be welded to it. As you guys probably noticed, my chop saw sucks. There is no way I'd be able to cut through this 2x3 member here in my shop. Fortunately, I can bring this to work and use the nice horizontal bandsaw we have there, get a nice clean cut, and that's what I'm going to do so that I can pick right back up on this tomorrow. It's the next day. I did get 2 of these made, slightly different lengths, just in case one works better than the other. I'm gonna get these guys welded in here so I can wrap up the rear suspension and the Panhard bar. I've got the Panhard bar installed now. It's looking pretty good, but the real test is to see if it actually works. So I'm gonna move this thing back and forth laterally, and there is zero play. There is some yaw motion, so I can actually twist the frame like this, but that actually should happen. There's nothing really preventing that. And you kind of want that going down the road. So I am at top of height right now. I'm gonna lower to ride height, which doesn't coincide with mid-stroke, and that's as planned. And then I'm gonna go all the way down to the bottom and see if this thing still works. All right, so that is just about ride height. And I'm getting the same stiffness laterally, which is good. So now I'm fully bottomed out. I'm about at 13 degrees, which is a little more than I thought it was going to be. But this thing actually shouldn't move because it's sitting on the frame. But just to confirm, there is no movement. So I'd call that a wrap on the Panhard bar and the dampers and just the rear end suspension. Now that we've got the rear end figured out, we're gonna dig into the bed, and the first step is just to strip it down. Now that we've got the bed stripped to a carcass back on the frame, I can start working on how I'm gonna restructure the bed and get it mounted to the frame. And that's gonna be next episode. There are a couple things that I'm keeping in mind as I do that. For a teaser for future episodes, this is what I'm planning for pneumatics for the air ride system and for the gas. Both of these are Facebook finds, very cheap, and they really just kind of match the patina of the truck. For the pneumatics, all I'm really using from this system is the tank. I'm gonna strip the wheels off. I'm gonna switch from a 120 volt compressor to a 12 volt compressor. This one is really nice, because it was cheap, but also it's got this really nice flat mounting surface that I can mount the compressor and any other things to that. On the gas side, I think this was from a mini dozer. It's not the biggest tank. I might regret that going forward, but I think it's gonna be easy to install and again, match the look of the truck. The middle of the bed is definitely gonna have to hump up to get up and over the new suspension there. I will be putting an access panel, something that I can lift up in case I need to do anything to it, but also something that I could probably lift up during a car show. The back is gonna remain as low and as big as possible so that I can actually haul stuff if I need to go to the hardware store, or to put coolers, camp chairs, any of that good stuff if we take this thing cruising. So essentially, this is gonna be somewhat of a mullet bed where we got the business in the front and the party in the back. So that's gonna wrap up this episode. We got a lot done. I can kind of check off the rear suspension. I got a whole lot more welding to do everywhere, but now I'm gonna turn my focus to the bed and getting that squared away. Plenty of content to come. I gotta figure out the front suspension. I've got a turbo being built as we speak. You may have seen in an earlier clip, I've got bright yellow interior that I'm planning on putting in this thing, which is gonna be kind of cool. So I'm excited about all of that stuff coming up. So if you guys are liking this stuff and you want to follow the build, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.